What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Cornell Dane, and you are now tuned in to the Relationship Theater. Uh, Stream of thought. This is something that I've been throwing around, tossing around, an idea that I've been tossing around, and the idea is called the dilemma. It's a funny idea. At least my friends think I am. I'm a very morbid person. I always think about death. Always think about the end and how it's going to look, what it's going to mean. And I was talking with a friend of mine today, and we often talk about things like this, topics like this. And, she's in another country, and she's thinking about coming home to, for whatever reason. I won't say what the reason is. Never know who's going to watch this, right? But I won't say what the reason is, but she's thinking about coming home. And, there's a bit of a reluctance to let everyone know that she's coming. And the reason for that reluctance is because, well, I think it's twofold in some ways. I think one way is it's just her personality to kind of hold her cards close to her chest. Uh, in her mind, someone really has to deserve. They have to earn it. They have to earn that part of her to feel as if, for her to feel like they deserve to know how she's moving, when she's coming, etc. Otherwise, she'd rather just pop up. She'd rather control that. And then the other side of it is some people who might expect her to come. They kind of get or demonstrate or display a sense of entitlement to her coming or what have you, right? So anyway, she and I were talking, and we talked about the word dilemma, at least in the context of our lives, and I think everyone's life, but how people often in the spring and summer of their lives, they all kinds of things are happening. All things are being all kinds of things are being created for people in those times. Children are going to school. They get older. They have boyfriends. Everything's growth if you think about it, from spring to summer. And it's only like maybe at the end of summer, the summer of our lives, where we start to experience some level of decline, some level of loss. Some people experience loss a lot sooner than others, but if you think about it, the way it's intended to happen, the way it's supposed to happen, loss finds you really at the most inopportune time. You're not expecting it. It's the time when you least expect loss to find you. It begins to come and it never stops, right? So, but here's the thing. Here's the dilemma. There's a trade-off depending upon who you were, depending upon what kind of ego you have, depending upon maybe how beautiful you were, or there's a trade-off. How much business you had, how much money you were making. You neglected in that spring and summertime of your life, before the loss began. You neglected certain parts of yourself. It could have been anything. It could have been your children. It could have been your parents. It could have been any number of things, right? And I'm talking about the things that you can't buy, not cars. If you had a '67 Monte Carlo, we can find the same one probably somewhere in a junkyard in America that you used to own. We can find it. We can we can figure that out. But you can't find your parents, you can't find your children, you can't find your wife, your first marriage. So there's a trade-off that we often have unknowingly at these times, at these points in our lives. At these points in our lives. And we don't figure out what we've lost there. I'm talking about indirectly until we start losing things directly. And what do I mean by that? Well, beautiful woman, beautiful breasts. They're up this high, and beautiful body, beautiful hips, beautiful face, no wrinkles, long hair, thick head of hair. Male, biceps, pecs, bodybuilder, tall, handsome, not a wrinkle on his face, abs. Even though he eats McDonald's 3 times a week, it's just indomitable. It's just invincible, these people. And at this stage of the game, just beautiful for no reason. And then you cross that line maybe at 30, 32. Some people, the line is different for everyone, right? 30, 32, aches and pains. 37, 38, receding hairline, sagging boobs. It just doesn't look quite the same. And some people try and renew by means of surgery. And they visit Dominican Republic, Brazil, whatever, and they get everything tightened up in order to continue to move forward as they have previously. However, like I said before, they do all of this not knowing that there's a trade-off. That trade-off eventually comes back. Some people do this and they decide not to have children. It could be something like that. It could be anything. But it could be career versus, and then it sneaks up on you. The loss sneaks up on you. And one day, not only are you well aware of how much time is running out, and I mean this in so many ways, but you recognize that whatever bridges you start to recognize that some of the bridges connecting you to the things that you now hold dear, now that you don't have this head of hair, perky boobs, beautiful hips and thighs, large shoulders, pecs, and can lift a school with a finger. The things that you indirectly broke or neglected, those things are sort of apprehensive about you, about, I wouldn't say being with you, but there's a sense of regret. There's a sense of, like I said, apprehension. And it's at that moment where you start to see who you are without the things that made you, quote unquote, great, at least in your mind, the surface level things. You might start to see that you have a drinking problem now that you're no longer beautiful. You might see that you didn't treat your children as well as you thought you did. And they're aware of it. And now they're in control. And the dilemma goes both ways. The dilemma for the individual who I'm talking about, who is now at the end of their lives, right? The dilemma for them is really happens in the beginning for them. But the dilemma, if it's like with your kids, the dilemma for them is that they're holding on or harboring like ill feelings towards a parent, an uncle, for whatever reason. I mean, there are all kinds of things that happen to people, and you all know this. But the dilemma is that person also feels it because they know that there isn't much time, and that this person that they're maybe angry with or having an issue with, this person may not be around much longer. And that still sucks, even though we have not repaired our relationship. So that knife cuts both ways. Interesting thought. I don't know if that made sense to you guys. It's late. It's midnight. And I thought I'd put something up. But let me know what you think. Let me know if I'm getting better at this. I think we're on video 17. I mean, critique everything. Critique the background, critique my clothing. But most importantly, comment as you see fit. Peace.